the family house narrative. Let's talk about it, right? So I know a lot of parents love the concept of leaving a family house behind. As a result, what they would often do is that they would leave one immovable property to more than one of their kids and would expect that those kids would treat that as a family home, and it would continue to do so, to operate as a family home, because in their minds, their grandchildren are going to live here and visit here. They're going to be exposed to this property because they built it for that. But I want us to talk about what this narrative tends to do to families, and maybe what you may want to think about as a parent, because even though you may have good intentions with this narrative, it can really have very bad consequences for your family. So without further ado, let's get to the conversation. Now, for all those that are new here, my name is Yolanda Mnyengeza, and I'm an attorney and a director at Mnyengeza Attorneys. Right, so let's talk about it. Now, the family house narrative comes from a very good place, right? Comes from a caring parent who'd like their great-grandchildren, their grandchildren, and their children to benefit from this house and continue to make memories in it, because that's why actually people build these things, so that their families can benefit from it, and these continue to be generational. But now the issue is that often parents would leave this particular property, in the names of these individual owners who are going to be shared owners. That's where the problem starts, because as soon as you pass away as the parent, there's not going to be, majority of the time, a meeting of the minds. Some will believe that this particular property can actually make money for them, which means that they should probably rent it out to somebody. But others would probably believe that, we should just sell this property so that we can make money out of it, and then that's the end of it, because we have our individual homes. And this tends to affect that one particular child who probably doesn't have a home of their own. So these are the kinds of things that happen, and so this doesn't necessarily function as a family home as you envision it, right? So what is it that you can think about if you really, really are into this family home narrative? I always say that instead of you leaving it in the individual's own capacities as shared owners, place it in a trust. Now, the reason for placing it in a trust is simple. You're taking away control from them. You're taking away their voice to say, I want to sell my shares, right? You're taking that power away from them, and you're instilling your own power by saying to them, I want you to benefit from this home. I want you to be able to come back when things go south out there. I want your kids to be able to experience this home that you grew up in. I want your great-grandchildren to see the fruits of my labor, right? So you would place it in a trust, which means that you take it out of their own personal possession, which means that even if they want to, they can't sell it, because the trustees will not be compelled to sell just because people want to make money. Remember, the purpose of the trust is to ensure that beneficiaries continue to benefit. And if you have named that beneficiaries, throughout your family must benefit, that is what the trustees will ensure happens. So in this way, you have achieved this family house narrative, and at the very same time, you have prohibited your children not having a good relationship, because when you leave it in the individual capacity of these kids you're leaving behind, they tend to fight to the extent that they no longer want to see each other because of how things turn out. So as a parent, think about this before you make that decision about leaving that one particular property as a family home. So this brings us to the end of our discussion today. So like we always say, save this video, probably share it with another person, subscribe, because we want you to get even more educated, right? So we'll see you next time. My name is Yolanda Mnyengeza, and I'm an attorney and a director at Mnyengeza Attorneys. Goodbye.